Because of the nature of this video, we have decided to dispense with our regular opening in favor of one more in line with the subject matter of the review. We will revert back to our regular opening for Wednesdays and Fridays reviews. This review can be found in the Tribute and Benefit Concerts playlist. Thank you for your patience and indulgence.
This video is dedicated with love and respect to the victims of the September 11th, 2001 attacks. May we never forget them, and they remain in our hearts forever. Good morning, everybody. To memorialize the victims of 9/11, I thought we would take a look at the concert for New York City today. It was held on October 20th of 2001, mere weeks after the event, or after the attacks, and it was organized by Sir Paul McCartney and held at Madison Square Garden in front of an audience of what we now call first responders and victims' families. And this is really one of the most moving concerts that I have ever seen. Like I said, it was organized by Sir Paul McCartney, and it had a stellar roster of performers, including Destiny's Child, the Backstreet Boys, The Who, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones, Billy Joel, Elton John, Bon Jovi, and I might add that they blew the roof off the place, and just a whole host of others, too numerous to mention. The show opens with David Bowie covering Simon and Garfunkel's America, and then going directly into Heroes, and which I think was rather fitting for the show, and he would do that that song. But one of the most moving performances, and one of my favorites from the evening, was the Backstreet Boys singing "Quit Playing Games with My Heart," which is one of my favorite Backstreet Boys songs, and it was also emotional to me, for me to watch, because I think the meaning of the song changed, in light of what happened, in light of the attacks, because the original intent of the song was from a boy-girl standpoint, and I think they kind of adapted it to mean, quit playing havoc with my emotions on, 9/11 and whatever. But they had, and two, it was not just it was a concert, but they also had one of the most moving parts of the show, aside from the musical performances, was they had a group of actors and directors, or main directors, submit short films about New York City. And, it to me, it kind of showed, some of the some of the short films on New York City kind of showed the unity of the city and how the city kind of pulls together during tragic moments like 9/11, and those were, like I said, some of the most moving parts of the show. And I think Mick and Keith performed one of my favorite songs from Beggars Banquet, which I think a lot of the performers tried to choose songs that would fit the moment, or would fit in with the sentiment of the show. And I think Mick and Keith's choice of Salt of the Earth from Beggars Banquet really kind of was the right choice, because New York City is a beacon city. To me, it's kind of like the universal gathering place, and I think Salt of the Earth kind of describes it well. And so I think that was a tremendous choice for them to choose that song. And of course, Elton John and Billy Joel performed, and Elton John performed, Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters, which was written about New York City, and he has since said in subsequent concerts that the concert for New York City was one of the most emotional nights that he has ever played. And so that kind of tells me that it had a lasting impact on musicians and audiences alike. And but one of the most moving performances one of the most moving moments of the show came when Natalie Portman was, I forget who she was introducing. I think she was maybe introducing a film, but she had a victimized family, on stage with her, and you could tell that she and the family were holding back tears during the introduction, and I think that was one of the most moving things that I have ever seen. Not just at a show, but period. And I had, the Concert for New York City is one of those shows that I cannot watch over and over again. I can only watch it, occasionally, because it's just moving, and every time I watch it, I find myself getting emotional at throughout the whole thing. Um, but one of the um, one of the performers that I think was supposed to perform but couldn't, and I'll get to that in a minute, was Cat Stevens, or Yusuf Islam as he is known now, but although I think he's known by both now. But yeah, he was supposed to perform, and he couldn't because shortly after the attacks, he was detained, for on suspicion of being a terrorist, because everybody was up in arms. But come on, the guy is just because he was a Muslim, he's a Muslim. I mean, the guy is one of the most. He was one of the most. He is one of the most, talented songwriters that ever existed. And, I don't know him as a person, but, I've known him through his music and through interviews for years, and I don't think, or I know that he is the type of person that would not, harm anybody or anything in any way. And he is just, I think he is a lovely man. So to suspect him of terrorism is just idiocy. And I know everybody was kind of going through aftershocks, because of 9/11, but that was ridiculous that they would suspect Cat Stevens of being a terrorist. And but one thing that I might add is that this was a reunion of sorts for the Who had been inactive. They had been inactive for a couple years up to that point. And besides Bon Jovi I think the Who's set was my favorite set of the Bon Jovi, and the Who's sets were my favorite sets of the whole night, because I think they both kicked rear end. And the Who's, like I said, the Who's set was somewhat of a reunion because they had been inactive for a couple years, I think since 1999, and it was one of the last performances that John Entwistle would play before passing away in 2002. And of course they did Won't Get Fooled Again, and you could see that the audience was very into it, especially the firefighters and the first responders, because they were really into it. And and they also did Behind Blue Eyes and Barbara Riley, I think. And like I said at the beginning, this show was held mere weeks after the event. So the first responders and the firefighters had been working constantly, trying to locate people. And so I think they were ready for a break, and they were looking for salvation. So I think this concert provided that. And Paul McCartney and Paul, of course, closed the show, I think. And they all did, I think, Let It Be and maybe Hey Jude. And Paul did a song that he hadn't done live up to that point since the Beatles were together, a song called I'm Down. And he also wrote a song in response to the event called Freedom that he would later put on Driving Rain, which is an album that his new album that he had just finished, I believe. Up to that point, it was his first all original album since Linda died. And I think, I want to say he stopped the pressing of the record, either that or he discarded the original pressing of Driving Rain and recorded Freedom and decided to put it on the record, and he re-released it with Freedom on there. And before we sign off, I just want to reiterate that you'll notice when you watch the video that the video will be opening in a different way, and I just thought it would be more appropriate to open it in a slightly different way than our normal opening. So, and I put an explanation in there as to why, but I thought I would give you a heads up on the video as well. And you'll notice when the rating card pops up, it's going to be a video of the Statue of Liberty with the rating going across it like we always do. But anyway, the video that I found of the Statue of Liberty at one point has fireworks coming out of it, and I am going to edit that part out because I don't think it would be appropriate to have fireworks coming out during a review of a show about 9/11. So I'm going to edit that out, or at least try. But I hope you enjoy this.